This is Project Armwrestling, the global arm wrestling podcast, brought to you by Tobias Mustonen.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Project Armwrestling. My name is Tobias Mustonen, born Skåneus, and I hail from the Nordic land of Sweden. And I always wanted to say that line. First of all, thank you for taking the time to listen. Whether you're a seasoned world champion, someone preparing for your very first tournament, or you only just recently discovered arm wrestling through YouTube, East vs. West, King of the Table, social media, or a friend, welcome. I am genuinely happy that you're here. So why am I creating a podcast? And that's a fair question. And the answer is pretty simple. Because I love this sport. I have been involved in arm wrestling for the last 16 years. And during those years, I've had the privilege of competing at the national in Sweden, Nordic championships, Europeans, Worlds, Slutty Tour, Arm Wars, and many other events all around the world. And I have been fortunate enough to become both Swedish champion and Nordic champion. But there is one thing these years have taught me. And it's that there is always something new to learn. No matter how experienced you become, no matter how many medals you win, arm wrestling always gives you another lesson. And honestly, that's one of the reasons that I fell in love with the sport. Arm wrestling isn't just about strength. It isn't just about big forearms or powerful biceps. It's physics, psychology, biomechanic, timing, strategy, and adapting under serious pressure. It's learning how to solve a problem within a fraction of a second. And two people grab each other's hands. But behind that simple image lies one of the most technical sports I have ever experienced. And I don't think enough people truly realize that. For the past year, I've also been producing a Swedish arm wrestling podcast. And it's been an incredible experience. I've had the opportunity to interview athletes, discuss competitions, talk about techniques, and simply share my passion with the Swedish arm wrestling community. But one thought kept coming back. What if I could do the same for the international community? And that's where Project Arm Wrestling was born. And now you might be wondering, why Project Arm Wrestling? Because this isn't just a podcast, it's a project, a long-term project, a mission to explore every corner of this amazing sport. The athletes' stories, history, techniques, training methods, science, rivalries, victories, failure, well, everything. And my goal is pretty simple. I want this to become a place where everyone who loves arm wrestling feels at home. But one thing I want to make very clear. This podcast isn't about creating unnecessary drama. It isn't about attacking athletes. It isn't about clickbait. There's already enough of that on the internet. Instead, I want to understand. Why did someone win? Why did someone lose? Why did a technique work? Why did a technique doesn't work? What can we learn from it? Because every match teaches us something. Especially the losses. Over this coming months and years, we'll break down some of the greatest matches ever pulled. We'll analyze legendary arm wrestling legends. We'll discuss technique in depth, not depth. We'll talk about hand control, king's move, hook, press, top roll, rising, pronation, back pressure, everything. We'll have conversations with some of the biggest names in arm wrestling, I hope, because I believe every athlete have a story worth hearing. And one thing I can promise you, I won't pretend to know everything. I am still learning and I am still improving. And I think that's what exactly that makes this podcast honest. This isn't about one person having all the answers. It's about asking better questions, learning together, growing together, and hopefully making all of us into better arm wrestlers. So if wherever you're listening from, Europe, Asia, Africa, the States, England, doesn't matter. Thank you very much. It's incredible to think that this sport, which once felt so small, has grown into a truly global community. And if this podcast can help connect even more people through arm wrestling, then it's worth every minute. If you have enjoyed this podcast so far, please consider following the show. Leave a rating, share it with a friend, recommend it to someone at your club, because every new listener helps this project grow. And the bigger this community becomes, the stronger our sport becomes. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone who has inspired me over the last years. Every teammate, every opponent, every coach, every referee, every organizer, and every volunteer. And every fan who continues to support this sport. Without all of you, there wouldn't be a Project Arm Wrestling. Thank you for listening to episode 1. This is only the beginning. I am excited for what's ahead. And I hope that you'll join me on this journey. Welcome to the project.
You've been listening to Project Arm Wrestling. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast, share it with your friends, and be part of the project.